In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can track links, downloads, and other outside sources more precisely with the help of a tracking redirect, which we will install with Google Tag Manager. So let's dive in. Hi there, and welcome to another video of measureschool.com, where we teach you the data-driven way of digital marketing. My name is Julian, and in this video we're gonna talk about how we can track our external clicks and downloads more accurately. I have an email here that I sent to myself, and sometimes you get these emails where there's a link to an outside resource like this PDF, and there's actually no way for Google Analytics to pick this up because we can't install Google Tag Manager or Google Analytics inside of a PDF. We can only install it on web pages that actually can communicate back to Google Analytics. And also in our tool, like our email tool, we can't install any kind of JavaScript codes. So how can we circumvent that? The one suggestion I have here is through a redirect. So for example, when I click this link, I first go to my page and I'm being redirected to the resource. So in that step in between, Google Analytics can pick up an event that then can be seen in Google Analytics as a download event and the resource that we redirected to. So this is a neat way to actually see if your user actually clicked on or viewed your resource. So how can we install this with the help of Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics? First of all, went ahead and built a page that shows a little bit of a graphic, which you can leave out if you want to. It just signalizes that the user needs to wait till he's redirected. Now on this page, there is no JavaScript, no redirect just yet. All the magic happens actually in Google Tag Manager. Let's go over to Google Tag Manager, and right now in this account that I just opened up, we just have a Google Analytics page view tag installed and now want to install our redirect method. Now the first step is to actually import our tag template, which you can also do under measureschool.com/redirect template. And all you need to do is click on import and get the JSON file and import it to your account. There will be one tag, one trigger, and actually two more variables installed, but there are also some built-in variables that will be activated on your account. So let's do this. And now you should see in the variable menu two new variables, the redirect variable and the redirect parameter variable. Now let me explain quickly what those are. The redirect parameter variable just looks into the URL and sees if there's a query string in there called redirect. And this is the keyword that we need to use in our query string. So for example, on our download page, we would have a query string called redirect. And then afterwards, we would have our URL that we want to send the user onto. In this case, for example, google.com. Now, if you click that and reload the page, nothing happens quite yet because we still need to install our tag, which calls the second variable that we have installed, the redirect variable. And this is the actual variable that will redirect your user onto the page that we have defined in the redirect parameter. Now there is also a timeout of 1 second installed, just so we can actually see what is happening in the browser, but you can remove that if you don't want to actually show this download screen to your user, and it would just redirect the user on right away. So what do we do with these two variables? Simply, we'll just build an event in Google Analytics with a bit of a twist. So let's go ahead and create a new tag. This will be our GA tag, which will track downloads and be fired on a redirect. We'll choose our product, which is Google Analytics, and then our tag type, which is Universal Analytics. And we select our tracking ID, which I have already saved up in a variable. Next step is to choose the track type, which in our case is an event. And we can give it a category, in our case download. You could also call it redirect or whatever you want. And in the action, I will put in the redirect parameter, which we'll send the user onto to get his resource. The other ones we leave free for now. The important thing is to choose as the non-interaction hit true, so it doesn't affect the bounce rate, And now the magic happens. We will implement a hit callback under the More settings. We can choose Field to Set and add a field. Now we'll choose the hit callback to call a function once Google Analytics request was sent successfully. And the function that we want to actually call is our redirect variable. Now what will this do? Again, if the Google Analytics event hit is successful, it will call this redirect variable and send the user on. That's very important because we don't want to send the user on to the next page too early. We only want to send them on once the user has been actually tracked in Google Analytics. So we built in this callback in order to ensure that the redirect doesn't happen before the actual event hit. Now we can go ahead and continue this and just define a new firing trigger, which I will define as the redirect, and it will fire on the DOM ready event, and not on all pages, but only on pages where our redirect parameter is actually defined. So we'll just go with does not equal undefined. Okay, great. Now we are ready to go. Let's create this trigger and create this tag. So let's try this out in our preview and debug mode. Back to our download page, we already have here a redirect installed, and if we reload this page, should now be redirected onto google.com, which happens. Now let's go into our Google Analytics, and we see that there's an event that just fired where we had a download that was redirected onto google.com. So it all works as expected, and we can go ahead and publish this as a version to all our users. Now, in order to use this correctly, you can actually just take any side of your website and simply attach a query string with the redirect parameter and tell your user where he should be redirected onto. So for example, in our case, you can redirect them onto our resource guide. User comes to the page and then is redirected. And we see all this in Google Analytics as well. That's why I told you, you don't really need the download page, but it's just a little bit nicer for the user to see what is happening while he's waiting. And this is how you can install a redirect method on your website in order to track certain downloads that come from outside sources, like an email newsletter or an external website that you actually have control over in order to decorate the link with the redirect parameter. It's also a great technique if you want to track links in your email newsletter that go to outside sources. For example, you redirect on and you recommend somebody and you want to track that link through a redirect method. But you could also use it on your website itself if you prefer this method over the methods that I've shown you previously, where you can actually track the button click directly. And that's already it with this week's video of measureschool.com. If you want to download the variables and tags that I've just explained to you, then head over to measureschool.com/redirect template and install those directly into your account without having to type out the actual code in your variables. And if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel because there's more to come every week. My name is Julian. Till next time.